Hey all, Scott here from Art of the Genre, and today we're rolling it back to 1984 and taking a look at Star Frontiers. This is the module SF4, the Mission to Alcazzar. This is one of my, I don't know, let's say a semi-favorite in the series, only because it features the awesome Explorer, which is one of my favorite things to use in the Star Frontiers setting, and it's heavily phased in on this one. It was written by Douglas Niles, who is probably my favorite TSR adventure writer, other than, let's say, Gary, who wrote so many great ones. I love Douglas's work. This one isn't probably one of his best pieces, just because it is... it's very Star Frontiers in its setting and nature. And I don't think a lot of times Star Frontiers really gives you something as a DM or a player that just vests you into it. The bread and butter of Dungeons and Dragons is dealing with dungeons. That's not something that you find in Star Frontiers, and you also don't find treasure. Two things that I think constantly push people back to Dungeons and Dragons. It's one of the things that people like about it. And that you never really get in Star Frontiers, and you certainly don't get it in this adventure, Mission to Alcazzar. But if you like wilderness adventures in D&D, or you like exploring planets, this is a great one for you. I like the way it's done, and it gives you a lot of options as a DM if you want to expand it and make it really a journey through, an unknown planet. And if you like things like that, you could add your own wrinkles in as well. The artwork, the cover is done. I'll show it to you even closer. This is done by Larry Elmore, one of my favorite pieces of his. Now, Larry, he is fantastic. He recently, now it's been a couple years, but he did a great book featuring a lot of his work that he did on Kickstarter. And I had posted this piece just because I liked it, I think on Facebook. And, he contacted me because we'd worked together a few times. He said, I don't remember doing that piece. Where did you get it? What's it from? And so I had to tell him, and I think he found it. I think it actually went in the book. But nevertheless, it's one of my favorites because it features a great representation of the Explorer. The interior artwork, I'll let you take a look at some of those pieces. They're done by Jeff Easley completely. Now, these are not my favorite Jeff pieces, specifically the things dealing with the Explorer, which I love so much. And I don't think he really did a great job with the Explorer, because I don't think he was following great reference, which is not something that Jeff has done. Jeff is an imaginative artist, which means his brain is just going to make it up. And so he's not somebody that's going to follow an art director and exactly, do what he's supposed to do, in doing what somebody else did and doing this and this and this, and they're all going to look perfect. He still does follow, the base races in here, and he does his own versions of them, but they pretty much stick to things. But anything else, he's not going to get into stuff like that. And I don't think he really went to town on the Explorer, but he did some great creatures, which Jeff is great at. Obviously does great dragons, and he does some great and fun creatures that are also on this world. So you can take a look at that, because that's one of the things I call Jeff out on this, because it's great. Good job. So anyway, let's get to the module before we get too far into it. It centers around going to the planet of Alcazzar, and Alcazzar is it's an unknown world. It's one that was found by Casdine Development Corp, CDC. They're my favorite corporation to use in Star Frontiers. A lot of my characters have relationships with the CDC, and they found this planet. They found some mining rights to it. They found some good minerals, and they set up a little operation there. Unfortunately, the Streel Corporation, which in my setting also is evil, has come in and decided they're going to jump the claims here, destroy the CDC, get them out, establish themselves, and then when the system and the planet is known and registered, they will be the first ones there and can make the most money off of it. So they went in and took out the CDC operation, the small mining outpost that was there. The players are then, they're supposed to come in and find out what's happened. They come in on a transport shuttle, and then a smaller shuttle called the Night Runner drops them off and leaves. And as soon as they're in and they're at the CDC area, the Night Runner and the shuttle get attacked by an assault shuttle, and they have to leave, and they give the characters, they say, you know, we're under attack, we've got to leave. That's all they get. The characters don't know if they're coming back. They don't know anything like that, so they're kind of stuck on the planet. Good part about it is they have all their equipment, which a lot of times in Star Frontiers, the modules take the equipment away, which in this one they don't, and they're also at the CDC base. And although Streel has gone in and reprogrammed all the mining operations and the robots there to attack the characters, I think there are 12 of them in total, they can still get in, find some good items at the base, including those explorers, which they're going to have to use to go 100 and I think it's 118 as the crow flies kilometers to get to the Streel compound. But the world is set up here. I'll show you the map here. In that map, you know, it's in a fold out here. You've got the world in here, and this is the area that you're going to be taking into it. These are all polar ice caps. And then you can see it's pretty extensive. And you're going to have to go from one side of the map all the way into the other side of the map, or the three fold out. And as you can see, there's a lot of mountains that and mud flats and stuff like that, and water that you have to go around. And a lot of times as the DM, if you want to go through it, you can make people go on dead ends and have to come back out of it and then go back around and come through until they can finally find a way to get to this other base of operations. And it's going to take them some time. If you wanted to, if you didn't, you could just say that, you know, they have drones or something that they can throw up and they don't get lost in, you know, back in canyons and stuff like that. Again, it depends on how much you want to be involved in having them explore this planet. There's the interior, there's a small interior section that has about half a dozen cool alien animals and stuff that you can run into. You can make up some of your own. They have flora and fauna that you're going to deal with as well. So that's in there. That's going to give you some good stuff. And the biggest one of those, I'm going to look this up. It's called the Guarhar, something like that. It is basically a frog bear. It's kind of cool. And it's got 800 stamina, and it's going to come in and, you know, it's going to be just one of those things that can tear up an explorer. So they're going to have to deal with that as the players. That's one of the biggest monsters you're going to find. There's also something called, I just want to get this right, the Sky Shrikes. And they are basically dogs. It's like a dog pack that flies. And that's kind of a cool option. And they can pick characters off the top of an explorer if they're sitting out there on the gun, or if they're walking. They love attacking people that are walking. So keep that in mind. Those are things that are in there. And then there's going to be your standard monkey people, which kind of have rudiment technology that are going to attack as well. And the characters will have to deal with them before they get to the Streel compound. Once they get to the Streel compound, there are a dozen, I think 6 Yarzarians, 6 human enemies there, or guards that they're going to have to take out. They'll get to the subspace radio, and therefore can radio back to the Night Flyer, the Night Runner, and they will come pick them up. Otherwise, that ship will be back in 50 days if for some reason that they aren't able to contact them. All in all, it's really up to the DM, the game master, how long they want to take this, how long they want to make it. And there are a lot of things that you can work in to make it, longer or more intricate or exploratory, if you want to, if that's the way you want to run a campaign. It's really not, I mean, you could run it as a very fast adventure, or you could string this out over a couple of months if you really wanted to do some cool things, across the planet, and you get those explorers. And the thing I like about explorers, especially, as an American, if you ever were in an RV and you got to go around, that's such a neat experience if you're used to, of course, being in a house, and you get in an RV and you can go places. And these are just big ass RVs that can go across, over land and do all kinds of cool stuff, but still they have the feel you're cooking in there. I always had stuff where they have planetary stuff they take out and can sleep outside, and put up stuff like that. I love using them in campaigns, and I think my players do too. So you could really extend that out if you wanted to make it a longer adventure. Nevertheless, I think it has a lot of opportunities. it doesn't nerf the players or do anything that'll be negative, but you have to be sure that this is the kind of adventure you want to run. Exploration with combat at the beginning and combat at the end, and then a lot of little things that can just spin players' wheels through the entirety of the middle of this adventure. There is one. There's like there is a Streel attack out on the plains where they've got their explorers versus your explorers. So you can do a lot of driving and shooting and stuff like that, which is always fun. So it's got a lot of things in it, but there aren't going to be a lot of dungeon type maps. The Streel compound is very basic. It's like 8 buildings with, and the buildings are just squares. So there's not a lot to look at there. So you're going to have to add in stuff like that if people like to do exploring in, structures. Otherwise, everything is way out in the open and you're just rolling dice to see what happens in combat. I think that's going to be it, but I hope you enjoyed this one. To all my Star Frontiers fans, I'm a huge fan of Star Frontiers. I've got my, this is my big book of Star Frontiers, which I keep all my extra notes and everything in as I run through stuff, and I absolutely love it. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good time with this one if you can find it, and otherwise, great gaming.